sehingga membantu dalam proses kegiatan perkuliahan. Tidak hanya dibekali materi saja, tetapi juga dengan lab skill dengan pembimbing dan dosen. Dan selain itu juga terdapat praktek baik di rumah sakit ataupun di puskesmas, sehingga menambah pengetahuan dan keterampilan saya di bidang keperawatan. Lulusan dari Prodi D3 Keperawatan Blitar, siap menjadi tenaga vokasi yang terjun ke masyarakat. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kesehatan Indonesia, wujudkan cita-cita pada dunia. Maju negeriku, maju Indonesia, tak kenal lelah, gapai cita-cita, teguh tak ragu, tingkatkan mutu, menata dunia, bangun Indonesia, satukan visi yang tak akan pernah pudar, membina insan cerdas akademika, politeknik, kesehatan Kemenkes Malang, wujudkan cita-citamu, bukti bakti untuk kesehatan Indonesia, wujudkan cita-cita pada dunia. Satukan visi yang tak akan pernah pudar, membina insan cerdas akademika, politeknik, kesehatan Kemenkes Malang, wujudkan cita-citamu, bukti bakti untuk kesehatan Indonesia, wujudkan cita-cita pada dunia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. The Honorable Director of Polkesma, but today representative by the Vice Director of Academic of Polkesma, Mr. Dr. Muhammad Wildan, Aperpen MPD, the Honorable Head of Blitar Nursing Diploma Free Study Program, Mrs. Dr. Sri Mugianti S. Nurse MCAP, the Honorable, our speaker this morning, Ms. Carmela Teresa de Leon, PhD, RN, BC, CCRN from USA, the Honorable lecturers and fellow Academy of Blitar Nursing Diploma Free Study Program, the Honorable, the participants from Central Campus of Polkesma, Lawang Nursing Study Program, Trenggalek Nursing Study Program, Ponorogo Nursing Study Program, Kediri Midwifery Study Program, and Jember Midwifery Study Program, and also my loving audience. First of all, let us praise to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His blessing, we are able to come here to join guest lecture of Blitar Nursing Diploma Free Study Program. Secondly, may peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us into the right ways of life. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ersa Fajar Utami as the MC today on 14th of November 2020 at guest lecture of Blitar Nursing Diploma Free Study Program with the title Birthing New Nursing Leaders Amidst Challenges. We would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate and thank to all of you taking time of your schedules to join this program, participate, and share together in improving our nursing knowledge. We hope this program will give an advantage for us in the future to be the next nursing leader amidst challenges. Well, in this special morning, we have several agendas. So I, as the master of ceremony today, I would like to outline all the agendas are as follows. The first agenda is opening. The second is listening National Anthem Indonesia Raya and Polkesmas Hymn. The third is committee report of this program. The fourth is welcome speech delivered by Mr. Dr. Muhammad Wildan Aperpen MPD. The fifth is speaker's resume reading, continue with the material delivered by our speaker, Ms. Carmela Teresa de Leon, PhD, RN, BC, CCRN from USA. The next is praying. And the last agenda are documentation and submission participant certificate, continue with closing. Well, to take advantage of the quality time, let us open this program with Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us listen the National Anthem Indonesia Raya and Polkesmas Hymn. So for the audience, please sit up straight.
Indonesia
Politeknik Kesehatan dan Kosmalang, sungguh mulia karya cintamu. Di Dharma perguruan tinggi sebagai pedoman setiap langkahmu. Dengan lindungan Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, kau hatikan jiwa dan ragamu untuk mewujudkan Indonesia sehat di masa yang akan datang. Maju terus pantang mundur Politeknik Kesehatan dan Kosmalang. Dengan semangat dan jiwa Pancasila, tercapai Indonesia sehat.
The next agenda is committee report of this program from committee representative. So, Cecil Miranda, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace for all of us. The Honorable Director of Malang State Health Polytechnic, Mr. Budi Susatya, SKP MKes, who on the occasion today is represented by the Deputy Director, Mr. Dr. Moh Wildan Aparman MPD, who we respect, Head of the Nursing Study Program, Mrs. Dr. Nursery Mugianti MKep, who we respect, ladies and gentlemen, lecturers, and the academic community of Blitar's Nursing Study Program, who we respect, Mrs. Carmela Teresa Delian, PhD RN BCCCRN, as guest lecturer on this morning, as well as to all the guest lecture participants. First of all, let us say praise to God who gives thousands of favors to us on this day, so that we can gather at the guest lecture with our nursing study program, Malang State Health Polytechnic, with the theme, Birthing New Nursing Leaders Amidst Challenges, on November 15, 2020 in a healthy state. I am Cecil Miranda Sinta. As a representative of the committee, would like to welcome and thank the audience for coming to the guest lecture this morning. I also thank all the committee and colleagues who have helped in organizing this event. Our goal in organizing this event, namely first, releasing the mission of Malang State Health Polytechnic Nursing Study Program in Blitar, especially in the field of emergency and disaster nursing national qualification according to the National Higher Education Standards and the Indonesian National Qualification Framework based on Pancasila, supported by information technology and quality assurance system. Second, running one of the work programs of study program student association in collaboration with student activity unit for scientific work. Third, students and lecturers of Malang State Health Polytechnic get basic knowledge about birthing new nursing leaders amidst challenges. Let us follow this event well so that it can run smoothly and we can get the benefits. Finally, if there are any shortcomings in organizing this event, I apologize. Welcome to join this event and may be useful. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we begin our main agenda, we are pleased to have Mr. Dr. Wildan Aparpan MPD as a Vice Director of Academic to deliver opening speech. So, Mr. Wildan, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Ersa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The Honorable of Head of Nursing Department, Head Polytechnic of Malang, Mr. Imam Subekti, the Honorable of Head of Nursing, Head of Blitar Nursing Program Study, State Head Polytechnic of Malang, Miss Dr. Mukyati, the Honorable Guest Speaker, Miss Carmela Teresia Delayan, PhD, from Pima Medical Institute, Mesa, Arizona, USA. Welcome to Indonesia. Welcome to State Head Polytechnic of Malang. Welcome to Blitar Program Study of Nursing. This meeting, yeah. We welcome also to Head of the Nursing Study Program, Blitar, the lectures, and all students attending this lecture. Let us give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, Almighty God, who has given us health and enjoyment, so that we can take part in this lecture this morning. Hopefully, we can all fully participate of the event. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and the management of State Head Polytechnic of Malang, I put my highest appreciation to today's lecture. As we know, the topic for today's lecture is new nursing leaders amidst challenges. Which is becoming such as application topic is the time of the challenge situation. It is an application of the nursing management course that are expected and add some new insight to improving nursing lectures and student competency, especially when it is the latest development of the nursing field. Congratulations and success for the nursing study program for conducting this event. I would also to express my deep gratitude to Ms. Camilla, who has agreed to become our guest lecturer today. We also have the good operation can be continue with various other activities in the future. As you all know, the topic today lecture is very interesting for you to follow. We can learn firsthand how to develop new leaders in the field of nursing amidst the various problems we face today. We can also learn how to develop nursing leaders in various countries. So please beautifully follow this lecture to get most benefit from it. Maybe that all that I can say today. I hope this event can run will be useful for all useful use. Amin. Di saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The guest lecture with the topic Breeding New Nursing Leaders Amidst Challenges is officially opened. Thank you, and I apologize any mistakes. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the speech, Mr. Wildan. The announcement for the participants, the attendance form has available in room chat Zoom and YouTube. So for the participants, please fill the form. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is reading speaker's resume. Continue with our main agenda, the guest lecture of Blitar Nursing Diploma Free Study Program with the title Breathing New Nursing Leaders Amidst Challenges, delivered by Ms. Carmela Teresa de Leon. For this agenda, I hope the audience will take notice from the beginning of the material to the end. And this session, moderated by Ms. Wiwin Martiningsih, MK PhD NS. So, to Ms. Wiwin as moderator, I invite you to take over this session.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ersa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning for everybody and welcome to all participants. Also Dr. Carmela in this guest lecture moment in nursing study program at Blitar. I am as moderator will guide this lecture. In this lecture today, we invite Dr. Carmela Teresa de Leon, PhD, RN, BC, CCRN from Pima Medical Institute, Mesa, Arizona, USA, for sharing about getting new nursing leader amid challenges. This team, especially to support nursing management subject in nursing study program. And now I will read the rule of this lecturing. Question and answer or discussion session will be held after delivering the material, or maybe Dr. Carmela want to ask something in the middle presentation, no problem. And then if any question can be written in the chat room by mentioning the name of the student, and also the student can asking directly. And the next, this lecture is expected to finish at 11 a.m. Before we start it, let me read the curriculum vitae of our speaker. Please share the curriculum vitae. Dr. Carmela Teresa de Leon, PhD, from Arizona, USA. Next. And many awards and certification. Also the experience about as a teacher. 2013 to 2014 Mentoring Excellent Award, Arizona Nursing Association. And Outstanding Educator Award, Student Nurses Association of Arizona. Award from American Association of Critical Care Nurses. And also American Nurses Credentialing Center, DAL Medical Surgical Nursing Certified. And teaching experience from Pima Medical Institute, Department of Nursing. And 2006 until now, senior faculty member. And didactic and simulation laboratory faculty for ADN students, University of Santo Tomas College of Nursing, nursing clinical instructor, and 2002 till 2005 didactic and clinical faculty of community and medical surgical nursing course. Next. The education from Dr. Carmela, get Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing Science from St. Paul University, Philippine Graduate School, 2019, with distinction. And Master of Art in Nursing, get summa cum laude in Santo Tomas College of Nursing, and get Bachelor of Science in Nursing with magna cum laude, 1998. Next. Another experiences, it is a Banner MD Anderson Center. So this is experience from Dr. Carmela, oncology in ICU, and critical care services for adult bone marrow stem cell transplant patient, medical surgical nurse, orthopedic and bariatric specialty services, Manila Health Department, public health nurse too. And the other publication and papers, there are 6 papers. I think the next. This is already. Yes, okay. Now we will listen the material will be delivered by Dr. Carmela. To Dr. Carmela, time is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wiwin, for the introduction. Salamat pagi. Good morning, everyone.
Selamat
Happy
pagi.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
I hope I said that
Happy
right.
Sunday. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wiwin, and to the organizers and the honorable administrators of your prestigious university and institution in inviting me today to talk to your students and the rest of your faculty to share some of my experiences and knowledge related to birthing new leaders amidst these challenges. So let me share my screen so we could proceed with our talk for today. So just like what Dr. Wiwin shared with everyone, my talk is about birthing new leaders. It is very timely because year 2020, as you all know, has been designated by the World Health Department or World Health Organization as the year of the nurse and midwife. So as most of us are in the healthcare field, it is very important not only to birth new leaders among the students that are with us today, but more so, it is more important for us as practitioners at the bedside, academicians that are teaching these young minds to also nurture our leadership potentials, because we all know that we were all born to be leaders. So just to give you a brief preview to add to what Dr. Wiwin has said. So what are my experiences that I could share with all of you? So basically in my 22 years of nursing, I have served not only in the private sector, but also in the government sector. So in those 22 years, which I'm sure compared to some of you who have been here ahead of me or probably serving for 30 or 40 more years, there are many things that you would learn through our practice. And working for the government and for the private sector, working for a developing country like the Philippines, and now I'm practicing in a developed country here in the US, I could definitely share certain leadership traits that I think all of us could learn from and continuously work on as we are guiding these young students in our lives. So I have nothing to disclose other than I am a current faculty of the ADN program here in Arizona. I have been a public health nurse for 3 years, the first 3 years of my life, and that taught me a lot about dealing with different levels of people. And out of the 22 years of nursing, 19 years of those has been in education. And we all know as a teacher and as an educator that that is very important in playing our part in helping these young students to become the future leaders of not only the profession, but the healthcare field. So we would have 3 parts of my discussion today. And during that time, like Dr. Wiwin has said, I would be asking some questions, and I would love it if Dr. Wiwin could help me moderate the chat section when the students and participants have typed their answers. So part 1 is identifying the characteristics of an effective nursing leader. Number 2, discuss how the current pandemic has impacted the nurses' well-being and how nursing leadership can support them. And part 3, how can we support or incorporate resilience strategies in our clinical, academic, and leadership practice as nurses ourselves and as educators ourselves. Please feel free to jot down your questions or raise your hand with the emoticon or send us a question in the chat box. That way we don't miss any of your questions throughout the whole presentation. So my first question for everyone, I know it's Sunday over there, and I'm thankful that everyone is here and present. So why don't you take a few minutes to type in your answers? What do you think are characteristics of an effective nursing leader? So for some of us that have been in the profession for a while, together with our students, what do you think would make a good nursing leader? So I'll give you a minute or two, and you could type your answers in the chat box, and probably Dr. Wiwin could help me go through them
Yes.
as the people are typing their answers.
Yes, Ms. Dr. Carmela. Please the student to prepare or to write the answer from question from Dr. Carmela. You can write in the chat room. Maybe Dr. Carmela can continue, or you will wait the answer.
I'll probably wait, Dr. Wiwin, for some of their answers so we could see where we all are.
Maybe you can continue first, and maybe the student will, while you continue your material, the student will write the
other answers. Yes, ma'am. So I could see some already typing. Some people have typed that a good leader is very patient. Absolutely.
There is someone raise hand.
Yes. Communication and problem solver. Some people answered creative. Is someone raising their hand, Ma'am, Dr. Wiwin?
Who is someone?
Elsa.
Siapa tadi?
Elsa, Bu.
Please Elsa, Elsa, please, please. You open your.
Yes.
Please unmute. Yes. Please, Elsa. The host maybe shut the. Oh, just voice, no problem, because the screen should still in the material. Yes. Elsa, please. You talk.
Yes. Yes, Miss Wiwin.
You want to talk something, Elsa?
Yes. I think characteristic of an effective nurse leader is critical thinking, compassion, and competence. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Miss Elsa, for answering. So we could proceed, and as the others are typing, probably you could check off if most of your answers are present. And thank you for some of the people who typed in the chat box. So let's proceed. So before I continue on the core characteristics of what we technically are all trained to do as nurses, so remember, all nurses have potentials to be a good leader. I want to emphasize that when you talk about the leader, don't just expect it to be the leader that is assigned or was hired for a position. So the leader that we will be talking about today is each and every one of us. So remember, you may be a formal leader, or you may be an informal leader. So basically, we all know that a formal leader are people that were elected for or assigned or appointed to a position or office that has specific job descriptions, or they have specific authority that is associated with that office, just like our honorable administrators today, which I'm sure is are practicing good leaders in your institution. But always keep in mind that when you look around, when you practice every day in your homes, or even in clinical or in the academe, there are also informal leaders that we look up to, even if they don't have official positions. And we look up to them because they have good experience, or probably they have a special skill or talent that we admire. And most of all, these leaders that appear to be good mentors for each and every one of us. Probably, if most of you would try and recall, you've had teachers or co-workers that you've always admired and know in your heart are good leaders, especially during periods in your life that you had crises or issues, such as what is happening right now all over the world in the pandemic. So keep that in mind. These are the leaders that we are going to be talking about today. That means it could be any one of us. So remember, early on in your career, you could be the informal leaders. And as you progress in your practice, you could become elected or appointed to a formal leadership. So either way, it is a good practice to always reflect, how could we become a good leader? Therefore, even in your stage in your life right now, we could still birth and nurture the leaders in each one of us. So just like what Miss Elsa shared during the early part of our question, she talked about 3 core constants of a good leader. And if you think about it, these are the things that your institution and might also the institution that I was trained during my early nursing years has been the 3 C's of the core of, I think, any nursing school or institution all over the world. And that is number 1, critical thinking. Number 2, and I think this is present not only in nurses, but all healthcare workers, is the compassion. And obviously all of us, just like in the video that I watched as an introduction to today's session, you were trained in a variety of skills in order to help the population that are entrusted to us, which are our patients, and that is the competence part. So on the right side of the screen, you would notice that if you think about it, critical thinking equates to the knowledge that we gain every day, and that is in our heads, while the competence is associated with the skills that we learn, and that is in our hands. But at the end of the day, our provider, our divine healer, would always put it together with the middle, which is the heart. And that pulls together what our minds are saying, or our knowledge, and the skills that are entrusted to all of us. So as nurses and as leaders, these are the 3 core constants that I think any leader should possess. The good news is, all of us healthcare workers, especially as nurses, are trained in these 3 core constants. So don't you think that is already a big blessing for all of us in our student life as we graduate to become nurses or midwives or other fields of healthcare? So that's your head, your hands, and your heart. But keep in mind, when we graduated, so for me, when I graduated, I was a very young 20-year-old young lady. What do you think, as current students right now, and for some of our administrators and faculty, what do you think would help you grow those 3 basic things? So what do you think do new nurses or some of our young students present here today, they could do to grow in the 3 core constants we just discussed, which is the critical thinking part, the compassion part, and the competent part? You could again type in your answers if you want, or you could raise your hand and we will call on you, or Dr. Wiwin or our MC could call on you if you want to share.
Share about the first question. Yes, I got. Dr. Carmela.
Yes, Dr. Wiwin. Yes, ma'am.
You want to know about the answering from student about
Sure.
your question?
Yes. What do you think in their
For
mind?
the first, for the spot, yes. For the first part, yes. The next, so to continue the answering from student. So for the student, maybe there is someone want to talk directly in this Zoom meeting, please.
Maybe from Dr. Camera, once again, Ms. Wiwin, once again. The question from Dr. Carmela once again.
Dr. Carmela want to continue the answering the question of one question.
Go ahead,
The first question, yes. Maybe you can go.
Repeat once again.
Oh, repeat the
Maybe you
question.
can repeat the question. Yes, maybe you can be.
So based on our discussion on the 3 core constants of a leader, what do you think a student could do or any one of us could do to grow in those 3 areas?
Okay, so this is the second question. Please, the student, about critical thinker, compassionate, and competence.
What can they do in their everyday lives?
Yes. Yes, maybe the student have experience about 8. Mungkin ada mahasiswa yang punya pengalaman tentang 3 hal ini dalam mengelola misalnya kegiatan kemahasiswaan atau KSR atau apapun sebagai seorang leader atau pemimpin. Seperti itu. Silahkan, siapa yang bisa menyampaikan? Sorry, Dr. Carmela, I talk in Indonesia language.
No, ma'am. I appreciate the
Yes,
help.
yes. Please, maybe I want to mention Rida. Hello, Rida. Rida, you can talk about your experience. Halo Rida. Perlia, Nurani, Tika. Maybe you continue first, Mom.
Okay, ma'am. And
Yes.
then probably they could think about it if some of the answers or suggestions I would give could help them grow, especially after they graduate, on the 3 characteristics or core constants of a good leader. So the first one, so what can you do to become a good critical thinker? So a majority of your administrators could probably attest to this. So number 1, for us to become critical thinkers, it is not enough after we graduate. We always have to be lifelong learners. So examples of lifelong learning could include going to graduate school. So a majority of your professors have pursued their master's degree and their PhD degree, and some of my students have actually progressed to becoming physicians or doctors. So always remember, after graduation, learning does not stop there. You always have to be open to new learning, especially with research and technology. We have new things that come out all the time. The second one would be continuous training and certification. So probably just like in my case, you would notice as a public health nurse, when I was a new graduate nurse, I did finish my master's quite early as I was going through my day job, and then at night I would go to school to continue my education before I became a professor or teacher. And all the time, as a bedside nurse, I started as a med-surg nurse, and then I progressed into a critical care nurse. And currently, I'm in the specialty of oncology for cancer care and stem cell transplant. So you could just imagine the studying and the learning does not stop. So with the new drugs that we are using and the new techniques that we are using to care for cancer patients and stem cell transplant, there's always new training in order to safely take care of these patients. So that adds to your knowledge. So you need to maintain those trainings and certifications year after year in order to safely take care of the patients. And last but not the least is to always respect and learn new researches and evidence-based practice. Because we all know that what might have been correct yesterday or today may not be the best answer or the safest techniques of tomorrow. And that is where research and evidence-based practice come in. We can't just remain standard or stagnant in our learning. So for me, in my 22 years, those are the best 3 things that any new graduate nurse or a student nurse could do to continue in their critical thinking component of being a good leader. Because isn't it a leader? Usually people come to you to ask questions and for your guidance. So may you be a bedside nurse, may you be an educator or teacher, or may you be an administrator of a big institution, maintaining your knowledge in critical thinking is very essential. So the next one is competency. So remember our 3 C's. The first one is critical thinking. The second one is the skills. So keep in mind, knowing something with your head is different from the skills or with your hands that you learn. So as a nurse for 22 years, coming from the Philippines and moving here in the United States, what has served me well and what has kept my patients safe is knowing my basics. So at the end of the day, no matter how much new things come out, at the end of the day, your safety net is always knowing the core or fundamentals of nursing. So remember, as simple as the nursing process, such as assessing, planning, implementing, and evaluation. And that's a cycle. You keep on doing it. And of course, your fundamental skills of assessment from head to foot, like your physical assessment. So don't forget your basics, because that's why they're called basics. They are your core foundation. The second one, and one of the most important, is be humble to ask questions. Never ever fear to ask questions and think, oh, if I ask this, they might think I'm stupid. So never ever think that way, because that is very unsafe. We owe it to our patients to always be humble, to ask questions, because we cannot know everything, right? Just like in nursing and in the healthcare field, you cannot practice by yourself, okay? And the third one, and this has been ingrained to me, even as a student way back 22 years ago, is to always strive for excellence and not perfection. Is there a difference between the two? Does anybody want to answer? Is there a difference between excellence and perfection?
Maybe it shouldn't want to answer it.
Especially from
Miss Carmela. Miss Carmela.
Yes,
Yes, there is a question from Rika.
I want to ask about critical thinking as well as we
Please,
all know.
Rika. Yes, Dr. Carmela. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I'm reading their question.
Oh yes. Maybe Rika Ariana want to talk directly.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Rika. Please, Rika. Hello, Rika.
Yes,
Maybe I
ma'am.
will. Yes,
Yeah.
you can
Yes,
talk
I
directly.
can.
Yes. Please.
I want to ask about
Unmute. Please,
I
Rika,
want to
unmute.
ask
Okay.
about critical thinking. As we all know, nurse must think critical in the face of the unexpected circumstance. Then how do you not be surprised if we face unexpected circumstance and can think of quick
During those
and
situations?
appropriation to overcome that situation?
Yes. Very good question, Miss Rika. So, as a young nurse, way back 22 years ago, the thing that helped me still have critical thinking in spite of an emergency, that is what you're asking, right? Is to go back to my basics. As a new nurse, I've always practiced, and as a new nurse, I kept on repeating things, learn it over and over, especially the things that I'm afraid of, just like a code. When I was a new nurse, I used to be afraid to, have to go to a code. And you know what happened? I always was the one sent to go to the codes. So see, as a new nurse, the best way to do is to face your fears, to always be open to those circumstances, and to always be assertive. Because when you do nothing, that patient can die. So therefore, the best answer is to always come prepared and to ask questions. Because remember, if you don't know the answer, then find someone or find the resource to help you find the answer. So don't be afraid. Does that answer your question, Rika? Rika,
Yes,
did
ma'am.
you hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. I hope that answers your question. Anybody who would like
You
to answer?
understand, Rika, about
Yes,
the
ma'am. I
answering?
understand. Thank you so much.
Yes. So the next question from Ferlia Artamevia, how to cultivate a new nurse's leadership traits, Ma'am?
We'll
Yeah.
go over that, ma'am, in the next few slides.
Oh yes, please.
Does anybody want to answer what's the difference between excellence and perfection?
I think you can next the slides, ma'am.
Okay, so basically, excellence is never stopping to improve yourself. Unlike perfection, just like when you get a perfect score of 100%, you stop there, right? Because that's the highest. But as nurses, we continue to be competent by striving to be better than we were yesterday. So keep on keeping on is basically what excellence is. Don't strive for perfection. That would make you too stressed. Just strive better than how you did yesterday. So if you failed today, study and figure out what went wrong so that the next time you face the same problem, you have a better answer. So don't forget that, my dear students. Always strive for for excellence, not for perfection. Okay? So the next one and the last one, but the most important personally for me, is how can you always be compassionate as a good leader? Because remember, as a leader, we can't just have our minds and our skills work for us. The most important is finding the human side of things. So my best answer for you would be find your passion. So especially for those of us who've been in the field for more than 5 years, give yourself a hand of applause because studies are actually saying that some of our new graduates are quitting nursing after 2 to 3 years. So if you actually stayed longer than that, it means that you are very resilient. And what are the studies are saying? What made you stay and now that you're becoming a leader? And most of them would answer, it's because they made their work fun. And what makes something fun, isn't it when you go to work, instead of, oh my gosh, it's Monday, I have to work. When you love what you're doing, that is your passion, it makes it very easy to come to work and do what we do best. So that's my first suggestion for our young students here. Find your passion. Remember, nursing has many specialties. So probably some of you would like to go into maternal and child care, like OB and PEDS. Some of you may want to go to oncology, like myself. So to be honest, I never wanted to be or imagined to be an oncology nurse. I always believe that we are placed where we are needed. Some of you may want to go to emergency nursing. Some of you may want to be a researcher, or some of you may want to become a teacher. So you have to find your passion in the field of nursing. And we are very lucky because nursing has so many facets and specialties. The second one is know your why. So when you say know your why, when you wake up in the morning, what keeps you going? Remember the question they asked us when we entered nursing school. Why do you want to become a nurse? So in my 22 years, there were moments that I thought I was gonna quit nursing because nursing is very hard. So you need to always find your why. Why are you here? Because if it is just the money, then you would not last long. You could earn money doing something else, But the work of nursing is a gift. It's a vocation. So you need to find your why. Is it because you want to take care of your loved one? Is it because you want to share the skills that was blessed to you, right, by God or by Allah? So keep in mind, these are works of mercy. These are works of love. So you need to know your why. You can't just be going to work every day just because you need to spend 8 hours at work. That's a lot of time you're wasting if you're just going there for the money, right? And the last one is always remember the patient experience. So look at the word patient in my slide. What's the middle letter in the word patient? And I changed the color to red. The letter is I, right? So when it is a very hard day, a very long day at work, taking care of sick patients, dying patients, sometimes it's very hard to give of ourselves because we are also tired. But at the end of the day, how do I remember it? I always remember the golden rule. How would I want to be treated if I was the patient on that bed? So for 22 years, I've always remembered, do unto others what you want others to do unto you. So especially for the administrators here and faculty, right? We are all getting older, and someday we would be the patient in that bed. And as we are training these young nurses, these young beautiful minds, we want them to always remember why they are doing it. And of course, the same thing. If I was the patient, I would want to do the best for that patient because that is someone's mother, that is someone's sister, that is someone's husband, someone's father, someone's son, someone's daughter. So that's how I remember the compassionate part. How would I want to be treated? Okay. And thank you for the answers in the chat box with regards to the difference between perfection and excellent. Thank you so much to Ratna in the chat box. So we'll proceed. So aside from critical thinking, compassion, and competence, there are three other characteristics of a good leader, and that is communication. So just like today, I appreciate Dr. Wiwin interpreting for me. Let me know if I need to repeat something because I know communication is very hard. Personally, when I moved from the Philippines to the United States, there were many barriers to communication on my part and also on my patient's part, not only with, with the language, but also with the culture. So for me, another characteristic of a good leader is learning how to communicate to our patients the best we can. Keep in mind that doesn't have to be language. It could be gestures and actions that express our thoughts. That's why I said there, therapeutic communication. Because keep in mind, you learned there's verbal and nonverbal communication. The fifth one is conscientious. Remember, all of us, we practice based on the law and based on ethics, on what is right versus wrong. So automatic at the end of the day, a good leader is also conscientious and ethical because you need to respect other people's opinion, your patient's decision, regardless if it is agreeable to you or not. Because at the end of the day, a good nurse and a good leader is a patient advocate. So that's your fifth characteristic of a good leader. And the fifth one, and a majority of your professors here and administrators would understand, an important characteristic of a nurse and obviously any leader is commitment, right? Especially now where many opportunities are available, to go outside of the country, to earn more money somewhere else, or to be popular and prestigious when you choose a certain position or job. At the end of the day, you have to have a sense of commitment to what you're doing. So just like what I said earlier, you have to have a why. You have to have a cause. And at the end of the day, look at the letters on the side of the slide. a good leader adapts to change. And that is very critical. That's why the title of our talk today is Birthing New Leaders Amid Challenges. Because the year 2020 has really brought a lot of changes, not only in healthcare, but also in our daily lives. So a good leader adjusts to changes. So just like the saying by one of the most prominent scientists, right? Charles Darwin, about evolution. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. And that is one of the most unique characteristic of a good leader. That in spite of not having the ideal resources, you are able to adapt to the change and provide the best care for your patients and their family. Okay, so we're actually going to part 2. So we already finished part 1. So part 1 is about what is a good leader. So probably at this point in time, everyone could have reflected, do I have some, if not all, of those characteristics, and how could we improve ourselves in those areas? So my next question is, and you could probably say it, right? In this pandemic, COVID-19 has caused many changes in our lives. So what challenges in the pandemic has confronted current nurse leader roles? So there's quite a bit. So I'll proceed, and then we could do the questions in a little bit. Dr. Wiwin, I think there's a question in the chat box. How can a good...
Yes, ma'am.
I think there's a question from Parantika Trimonalisa.
Yes, I will show the question. You want to read, ma'am?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
to answer the one of the question?
Yeah, it says there.
This is from Rika already, I think, and Ferlia. How
It
to
says,
cultivate?
how can a good work environment improve if the current social response is not supportive?
Early, who is early?
Yeah, that is a very good question.
Oh, Parantina, yes. Parantika, yes.
Parantika. My
Yes.
answer for you, Parantika, and we could also see it in the next slides actually, a change starts from within. So I'll be very honest with you. The pandemic, especially in the early days, it was disheartening that some of our government leaders, not only here in the United States but all over the world, were caught in a surprise because of this pandemic. So at the end of the day, if we cannot control the outside, the best solution is to start from yourself. Instead of asking, how come my leaders are not doing this? My best answer for you is, what can you do first for yourself? Because it was very frustrating, when we were going to work and we didn't even have the protective gear to protect ourselves as we were caring for our very sick patients. So instead of thinking of the negatives or the things that was not available, the best answer we did for ourselves as nurses who survived for the last 10 months of the pandemic is, what can we do and what do we have now? And we made the most of it. Okay, so hopefully that would help you when you're thinking. The next one is, how the opportunity nurse from Asia get a job in America, and what main preparation for searching a job? Okay, so my best answer for you is to graduate first. So how do you get a good job? Is to graduate first and to be the best student that you could become, and good experience. So to be honest with you, I served my country first as a public health nurse. And that is not easy. I didn't even work in the hospital. I worked in the poorest area in Manila. And at the end of the day, that did not only give me fulfillment, it actually gave me the good experience to be able to get the job that I wanted. And my final answer for that, work with yourself first, be the best nurse you could become, and the work comes for you. You don't even need to look for the job. And I'm telling that based on experience. the job offers will come to you when they know you are the best in your field. Does that make sense? So that's my answer for Prodita.
Prodita.
From me, Dr.
There is,
Carmela.
there is question
Yes,
from Mr.
yes,
Agus,
Doctor.
Dr.
Okay,
Carmela.
Yes, that's my
okay.
answer, sir.
I am
Yes.
sorry.
And then
Maybe I want to add about your explanation, Miss. I believe all of your talking about your experience before you go to America, and I believe that is the best experience for us, especially to, yeah, maybe I want all from all of my children get job in America, especially, and then I believe in Filipina because all of the people from Filipina have good English, and then yeah, I think that is the main capital to catch up in America. Yeah, because I believe all my students have good motivation to improve their English ability, but in practice maybe yeah, same with you said before, fear to try to speak English because yeah, make mistake.
that's okay.
Yeah, make all of the students shy to try to speak English, and I
Yes,
believe from this meeting, yeah, that's to prove their English ability. That is, in fact, yeah, all of students, yeah, try speak English as well as they can, and then in education, maybe the next my question in Filipino education, especially in nursing, what the main preparation for the student to go international nursing, yeah, before get job in the other country, especially. Yeah.
my best answer, sir, would be to practice first.
Yeah.
Especially for some of us who graduated from a government university, we are required to serve for at least 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And with that, we could practice. Like for me, when I was in the Manila Health Department as a public health nurse, I got to work with people from doctors and nurses from the World Health. So that was good exposure because you are, like you said, keep on practicing English.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, even if you make mistakes. Because, like for me, when I first taught here as a teacher, one of the problems was I have an accent, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So don't be
Filipinos
afraid.
accent. Filipinos
Yeah,
accent.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Just
Okay.
keep on doing it, even with my patients. So the more practice, the better you would become. And they could take English classes if they want.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, in English, the most important thing you and I understand what we mean. I think it is very easy. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. 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 Okay, Miss Wiwin.
Yes,
Thank
Enough.
you.
Dr. Carmela, yes. So your question already, you are
Yes.
satisfied, Dr. Agus?
And then for question number 3, so we are on part 2. What are the challenges in the pandemic that has confronted our nurses, not only here in the States, but all over the world? So I found this poem while preparing for today, and it said, I heard we are in the same boat, but it is not like that. We are in the same storm, but not in the same boat. Your ship can be wrecked and mine might not be, or vice versa. And that is something we all need to understand. May you be in Asia, or may you be in the United States, or may you be in London, or may you be in Australia. We always need to understand that just like our patients, we are all different. Even if the pandemic is happening all over, unfortunately, not everyone has the same resources. So I totally agree. We may not be in the same storm. We may be in the same storm, but we are not in the same boat. And why is that? Because one, we have human resources that are different, the number of nurses or staffing. Second, we have different laws and policies that may protect or unfortunately not protect our nurses and our healthcare workers. Number 3, we may not have the same equipment, or what happened in the pandemic, not enough equipment for our workers. And the last one at the bottom, which makes up a majority of this is the resilience. Because no matter how much equipment or money a country has, the problem is us, the healthcare workers. How strong are we to overcome the mental stress that came with it? So to summarize several researches based on the International Council of Nurses, the World Health Organization, and the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, they found multiple problems that occurred not only for our nurses, but all our healthcare workers. So the first thing was fear of the unknown, especially around the first quarter of the year, when we never really knew how bad this virus was. So fear of death, right? It faced us right in the face. Fear of sickness for our families, especially for us when we go to the clinical, we have to quarantine ourselves, or at least, make sure that our families are safe when we go home. Second, and we all experience this all over the world, may you be in America or in Asia or anywhere in the world, there was a lack of resources. So remember the PPEs, the masks, the gowns, etc. And obviously going into work, knowing if this would be your last shift because you get sick, that brought so much fatigue and burnout among our nurses. And we had so many nurses that got sick actually with COVID-19. And obviously because of this, we had nurses, who were nearing retirement or because of their age were high risk to get the COVID, retired early. So that was a high turnover for everyone. So according to the National Academy of Medicine, which is one of the biggest researchers among healthcare workers, the last 9 to 10 months have shown a 400%, imagine, 400% increase in depression, anxiety, and mental illness, not only among physicians, but also among nurses. And for most of us, especially the ones working in the front lines or critical care, these nurses and physicians actually experience similar symptoms to post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's not just the supplies we're working with as a problem, it's our people that are actually getting sick and tired and die. I had a couple of co-workers that actually unfortunately passed because of this COVID-19. So those are all traumatic for all of us. So therefore, as a member of society, what is our main goal? And that actually brings us to the main topic and almost to the end of our talk. What can we do as leaders? After we've realized who the leaders should be, after we've realized what we are facing, the third question of the day is, what can we do with what we have? Just like some of the questions we've had. So my number one answer is building resilience. Once you've built resilience, the next one is coaching. So a majority of our professors here and experienced nurses would understand what I'm talking about. And that's basically what they're doing already with our students. And the third one is maintaining a healthy workplace. We should actually answer some of the questions in the chat box. So we'll continue and then we'll go over the questions in a little bit. So the first one is resilience. So what is resilience? So resilience is not new. Resilience has been studied for the last 2 decades, actually, when they realized what was happening to our clinicians and our bedside nurses. So if you look at the picture on top, you see a plant growing on a stone. So imagine, how could a plant grow on a stone instead of soil? That's showing what resilience is. So resilience, according to the National Academy of Medicine, is defined as the ability of a person, so that's us, a community or a system to withstand, adapt, recover, rebound, or even grow from adversity, stress, or trauma. And that is what we're having right now. The pandemic is a worldwide crisis that is testing not only our personal resilience, but also the healthcare system's resilience. So what can we do as young as you are, as students? You should start as early as now, because remember, charity starts at home. You cannot give what you do not have. You must build yourself first before you could serve others. So what are those? So same answer already, almost you've learned if you were listening in the the last hour, you must find your why. Are you really equipped to become a nurse and be a good leader among your patients and your community? So self-awareness, is this really for you? Because if it's not, probably it's time to find another vocation. Second is self-care. In the last 10 months, it is more important to listen to yourself and to keep yourself healthy. No matter how much PPE, mask we wear, if your own immune system is poor, then you would become the next patient. You cannot take care of your patient. And we know that stress causes our immune system to be slower. So more than ever, your basic answers that you teach your patients, you need to do them yourself. Sleep, right? Good nutrition, and maintain exercise. It sounds simple, but very, very hard because of the anxiety you are feeling. Personally, the first few months of the pandemic, I was having trouble sleeping and also trying to adapt to moving from ground to virtual learning, right? So some of our professors could probably uh, feel the same way that I have. The third one and the most important one, remember I told you, be humble to ask for help. So seek support. When you are feeling sad, fatigued, burned out because of a bad shift, especially if your patients are dying, especially during the first few months when we didn't know what the virus was doing, talk about it. So find time with a coworker, a trusted friend, or our hospital has provided counseling sessions just to debrief, because there's a sense of guilt that you might not have done everything that you can, even if you did. So seek help. And what's the best way to do that? Sometimes as simple as storytelling. So just like what I'm doing right now with you, this is storytelling. This is sharing my experiences and hoping that you could learn from my experiences and my mistakes and my victories, that you may be able to apply it in your lives. So as simple as that. So hopefully those are some resiliency strategies you could start doing for yourself and to our dear students. So this is a picture that actually reminded me during the hard times of the first few months of the pandemic. Just like the question there, what if our government cannot provide, or the leader cannot provide, or they're not doing this and that? My best answer is I should look to myself and only work on the things I can control, meaning conserve my energy. Instead of complaining, just do the things that I can, because that is more productive. Because sometimes, to be honest, there is no answer coming from, sometimes the government or the current leaders in your hospital or your community. So start with yourself, stay positive first. Okay. The second one after resilience is coaching. Once you've become stronger, now you are a higher level leader. So now you could coach the younger nurses, the newer nurses. Some of my former students became co-workers already at the bedside. And what do? You model. The best way to do it is to walk the talk. So remember, as teachers, we tell you, we teach you, but showing you is the more effective way rather than just lecturing. That's the reason why I still practice at the bedside on some weekends and not just teaching at the university. Because practicing and telling something are two different things. So that's basically what coaching is. Okay, so coaching is a positive style of leadership in which managers promote empathy, walk their shoes, and self-awareness, and helping employees to develop long-term goals. So you're mentoring them is basically the other term for coaching. Okay. So what are the components of coaching? And I'll just go over briefly. That way we have extra time for question and answer. That is guidance. So guidance is having honest critics. Tell them not only the bad things, you also tell them the good things. And sometimes you're afraid to hurt their feelings. You have to tell them if they also did something wrong so they could correct it. The next one is teaching them how to fish and don't fish for them. And that is facilitation. You show them, but also allow them the space to grow on their own, provided the patient is safe, that they're not making mistakes, right? And the last one is to inspire. and to show them what they can become by showing them the life that you've led. Okay, so those are the 3 steps of coaching: guidance, facilitation, and inspiration. The last one is finding a healthy workplace. So remember, you are lucky if you found an institution that matches your values. And for me, that was a game changer. Before I accepted any position, I always ask, does the value of this institution match my personal goals in life? And that is what inspiration and value mean. You don't just accept a job because it's the best paying job. You accept a job because you look into all the things that they could offer you and the same thing that you could offer to them. So meaning, do they give me the freedom to grow and develop myself? Is it a safe workplace? Do they have policies and procedure that does not only protect me but also protect my patients? Obviously, we have to put food on the table. Do they pay good benefits? And do they give rewards if you are a good nurse and provider? And obviously, the most important thing, just like in the slide, there must be balance between work and life. So I'm lucky to have worked in institutions where they provide you with time for family, especially during crises. Just like right now, you could take a leave of absence if a member gets sick, etc. And then obviously, career improvement. Do they send me to training to improve myself so I could be a better teacher to my students? So in summary, I put self-care in the middle and finding your passion. And then around it are the characteristics of a leader that we have discussed in the last hour. So commitment, collaboration, critical thinking, compassion, competence, communication, and cultural empathy, and then your conscientiousness or ethics. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Carmela. Actually, we already discussed and made a presentation, but no problem if now we discuss again. Maybe we can continue to the question from room chat.
Maybe direct question, Ms. Wiwin.
Yes.
Direct question from Ratna.
Okay.
Third class.
Yes, Ratna Putri Dewi.
Ratna,
Yes.
please.
Please, Ratna Putri Dewi, you read your question in chat room.
Okay, good morning, Dr. Carmela. So I want to ask you a question. So like we face pandemic, it's something new for us. And for the first time, it makes us a little bit like, flustered. So we don't know what to do. But the situation make us to adapt with the situation as soon as possible. So what is the best tips from you for us to bring back our consciousness and to aware that the situation really happens? We can't deny it, we need to accept it, and we need to face it. So what is the best the best way to bring back our consciousness and face the reality? Thank you.
Very good question, Miss Ratna. So even as a new nurse, I've committed mistakes, just like a medication error or something like that. My best answer for you is, you already said the answer actually, is to accept it. Never ever deny it. That's the first step. Remember, just like in Dr. Kubler-Ross's grief and loss, isn't it? Denial is the first step. So don't deny. So my first answer for you is to first check your patient. How are they after that? Whatever happened, that's the most important, right? Make sure that whoever the patient was, that they are safe and that we tell the truth, because that's the thing, especially here in the United States, where you could get sued, right? So honesty is the best policy. The second is report it. Probably they teach you in legal and leadership, right? Incident reports. Do not be afraid to file an incident report, because the incident report is not there to punish you. The incident report is for everyone to figure out what went wrong. And that's the thing. Sometimes you're afraid because you think you're going to be punished or your grades would be deducted. At the end of the day, We want what is best for our patients. Remember, I told you, how would I want to be treated if that mistake happened to me as a patient? So report it. And number 3, be humble and learn from it. Just like a fear, just like a wound, you need to undress the wound and remove all the pus inside the wound in order for it to heal. So humility is the best policy, honesty is the best policy, and probably if it is a skill, then go back to the skills lab and learn. That way you don't hurt someone in the future. And I'm telling you, once you make a mistake, it would be ingrained in you. That's one of the hardest way to learn is by making a mistake. That's why listen to your instructors, because they're sharing with you their experiences, so we won't create the same mistake.
Yeah,
Yes,
well, I
Ratna.
think that's very important for us because sometimes we afraid to, what is it, to agree that we're make mistake and we're too shy. But the good things is, I think from mistake we can learn, like because if we don't make a mistake, we never learn. And then about honesty, it's very hard to tell about honesty because sometimes it's, you know, but white lies, like we say a lies for the good thing. Is it make sense for you? I don't know.
I'm
Like
understanding what
telling
you're
lies for the good thing. Yeah,
but
because
remember,
sometimes it's really to tell the truth to the patient,
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, but studies are showing that when you tell the truth, the patients are less angry because now they realize you are a very good nurse, to be honest. And lawsuits are actually lesser. So it's always best to apologize and acknowledge.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering my question, Dr. Carmela.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Okay. From the next, Nur Aini. I know your question in the chat room. Nur Ani. Hello, Nur Aini. Nur Aini apa Nur Aini? Nurani. I think Nurani, the same question. I will read the question, Ma'am Carmela.
Yes, ma'am.
This is from Nurani. I want to ask what is needed by nurses to answer the challenges that exist in today's era. The similar maybe. But
Yes, ma'am. So
you want
my
to give
answer would
suggestion?
be resilience, is to build personal resilience, to take care of their self.
Nurani?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Please you give comment to.
Nurani can enter Zoom. Currently streaming on YouTube.
Oh, like that. But no problem. I think the question, Nurani, is the same with Ratna. Yes, maybe the next question. Dr. Carmela.
Which one, ma'am?
Can also.
Madin?
Madin, yes. From Madin. Madin.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
You want to talk? Yes, please.
Good morning, Dr. Carmela. I want to ask you, ma'am, as a good nurse, how to build good communication, ma'am. We know that communication is very important in carrying out our duties as a nurse. Thank you.
Thank you, Madden, for that good question. And you having the confidence to ask a question is already the first step in having good communication. My second one would be a good listener, because you learn a lot from listening before answering. And you know, as a foreign nurse here in the States, that's how I best learn how to talk better, because I learned to listen to how they say certain things so they could actually understand me. So listening is actually the first step in being a good communicator. That's why, you know, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's what my mom used to say. So yeah, those are my best suggestions for you. And don't be shy to talk. And don't ever think that a question is stupid. You know how even my students here, they would say, I have a question, but I think it's a stupid question. I always tell them there is no stupid question, just interesting ones. So hopefully you learned from that. Just speak up and, you know, also understand their culture and where they are coming from. Because what may be acceptable to one's culture is not acceptable to another. So you have to be sensitive and careful also. And when in doubt, ask.
Okay. How? Madit,
Yes, ma'am.
you want to give your opinion?
No, I think it's all.
Okay.
Thank you,
Now,
Dr. Carmela.
oh, this is there is question from Dr. Sri Mugianti in the chat room, Dr. Carmela. Maybe I will read.
Yes, please.
Yes, I have 2 questions for you, Dr. Carmela. How is the image of nurses in America during the COVID-19 pandemic? And then, is there any change of image comparing before pandemic? And how is government or nurse association plan in nursing recruitment in the future? Maybe you can read also, ma'am.
Yeah, what do you mean by image?
Oh, who is someone who? Please mute. Please mute. Host, the host, please mute. The host, please look for. Hello, Dr. Carmela. Yes.
I have a question. What do you mean by image?
What the
Citra, Bu Wiwin. Citra. Perception.
Oh, yes, perception of nurses
Yeah,
in Indonesia, Citra.
Ya, citra, percep.
The description, yes.
Like for us nurses,
The view, yes.
after the pandemic?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it before and after the pandemic, what my perception is as a nurse?
Yes, yes.
Sad to say, ma'am, even before the pandemic, we had the same problem, like staffing. Because of staffing ratio, the pandemic just made it worse. But the good news is the last 4 or 5 months, we have gotten more supplies. With the knowledge that we have, our policy and procedure has become better to protect the nurses when they go to work. Resources wise, our hospitals are a bit more prepared in the last 5 months compared to the first few. We've modified the way we triage patients to minimize exposure. So it has become better. It's still not perfect, but way better compared to like in March or April. So right now we are better, and with more people wearing a mask and social distancing, it has become better. And then how is the government or nurse association planning in nursing recruitment? So there is still a projected shortage, ma'am. So right now, my students that are graduating, you know, I had a batch graduate like 4 months ago. They immediately get hired. And in spite of that, we're having a shortage because we get sick. You know, some of our nurses got sick. So as of right now, the immigration of hiring foreign nurses is probably on hold, especially until we've figured out our president, because that affects immigration laws. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Dr. Srumugianti?
Yeah.
But
Okay, ma'am.
maybe you have
Thank
the
you.
opinion, ma'am. No. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Carmela.
Yes.
The next, the question from Miss Irka. She wants to talk directly in Zoom meeting room. Please, please, Miss Irka.
Hello. Hello, Ma'am Wiwin. Can you hear my voice?
Okay,
Yes,
clear.
yes,
Clear,
yes,
clear.
very clear.
Okay. Okay. Hello, Ma'am Carmela. Actually, today I'm very inspired with the materials that you shared to us. As you said before about the core of nurse, I will not forget about head, heart, and hand. It's very exciting and inspiring, I think. And then about my questions, it's actually about the challenge of being a nurse here in Indonesia. What do you think about the how to face the stereotype or kind of negative stigma for a nurse? Because as a nurse, they have to take care of patients in the hospital with COVID-19, and then maybe some people like think we should keep away from the nurse itself because maybe they full of virus or something like that. What do you think about that? Thank you.
Very good question, Miss Irka. I totally understand what you're trying to say, because personally for me, for example, I come from the hospital or even coming from school because we're already doing hybrid and I'm wearing my scrubs. My safest answer for you, unfortunately, is just to change clothes for two reasons. Number one, it's to also protect the public from, honestly, even with our gowns and PPEs, the best practice now is just to change or shower from the hospital before going home, because it's twofold. One, we're protecting ourselves and also protecting the community. And second, even if, for example, my clothes are not contaminated, for example, I just came from school and not came from the hospital setting, I just don't want to strike fear in the people that I meet. For example, if I go to the grocery store coming from the hospital or coming from the school, the best thing is just not to cause more anxiety, because if you put yourself in their place, it's also anxiety producing if you meet someone on scrubs, because you don't know where they came from. If they came from school or just came from fresh from home, or did they come from the hospital. So for unfortunately it is a stigma, right? So my best answer for you, remember, I cannot change other people's opinion, but I could just work on myself. So my best answer is just to change clothing. So I bring extra clothes now, or I never go out wearing my scrubs, regardless if I came from school or from the hospital, because it's safer, because you don't know how people would react. There were actually cases, not here in the US, but actually in the Philippines. Some of the nurses there, some people sprinkled them with bleach. And the nurse actually almost lost his sight because the bleach splattered in his eyes. So the best answer is just to keep yourself safe. So just bring extra clothes. Unfortunately, that's my best answer. We're not correcting the stigma, but you are protecting yourself and also the community.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma'am Carmela. I do really agree with you, because that one thing that we can do is only change our mind. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes we can feel like frustrated because of it, because of this negative stigma. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay. We next go to the another question from Anissa Sandika. Hello, Dr. Carmela. I want to ask you how to find our patient and how to make sure ourselves to make a good decision. Thank you.
Anissa, that is a good
Anissa
question.
Sandika, yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, how did I find my passion? So I could only answer for me. So see if it also works for you. My best answer is always being open. So remember, I told you the only one I really applied for was my very first job. And then the other jobs came to me, meaning they were offered. For example, the university came to me and asked, would you like to teach? And so on and so forth. So my best answer is be open. So try it, especially for you young ones. If you don't try it, you would never know. So like I told you, I started as a public health nurse. I never planned to be one, but I was open because it was one of the first few jobs I saw. I applied for it and learned to love it. And even if you don't like it, learn the most from it. So far, I'm lucky. All my jobs through the last 22 years, I learned to love it. So my best answer for you is to keep an open mind. And then, you know, your heart will tell you. You know how? Because when I go to work every morning, I don't dread going to work. I am excited. So that's actually a sign for you that wherever you are needed. So if you're going to work and it's only the beginning of their morning and you're already tired, then probably you need to think for yourself, is this really for me? So that's my best answer for you. Is reflect. Is this making me happy aside from because it's giving me a paycheck? And learn from it.
Okay. How, Anissa? Hello, Anissa.
Yes,
You want to
thank
give
you.
opinion? Okay. Thank you. Now, maybe the last question from Chandra. Please, Chandra. In this room.
Hello, doctor.
Yeah. Chandra, speak loudly.
Hello.
Okay, clear.
Hello. Excuse me. I want to ask how to
Dr.
be.
Carmela. Oh, yeah, yes. Yes. Next.
Excuse me. I want to ask how to be more confident and stay in the midst of challenge. Thank you.
Dr. Carmela.
So
Dr.
you're
Carmela.
asking how to be
Yes.
confident?
Yes.
Yeah, confident.
Yeah.
Yes. To be
My best answer for you is to study the best you can, because when you know what you're doing, that shows in your work. Right? You can't pretend. It's not just in your appearance, because when you start talking and doing things, it shows. But when you know in your heart, you prepared very hard, just like in an exam or maybe a return demonstration or in daily life, when you know you prepared for it and did not cram for it, it would show in your demeanor. So like I said, when you don't know, ask. So those two things go together. Prepare well, study well, and when in doubt, ask, because that's the only way you would be confident in what you're doing. I hope that answers her question, Dr. Weaving.
Yes. Hello, Chandra. You can give opinion. Maybe you want to talk something.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Maybe Ms. Vivian,
Yes,
I
maybe,
want to add before closing ceremony.
No, not yet, Sir Agus. Maybe, what else? Any question? The last question, maybe? I will give to the Ersa first, Mr. Agus. Maybe you want to talk. What do you want to talk?
Okay, I want to add Ms. Carmela about this meeting.
Okay, please.
Alhamdulillah, this meeting is very important meeting for us, especially Dr. Carmela, because this is the best experience for you, for the lecturer, for the student, become a good nurse, especially international value. And I believe your tips, especially in PPT, PowerPoint, I think I want to do it step by step. And then I believe all of students here, I want based on Dr. Carmel experience, we will do it. Yeah, we will do it. Yeah. You will be able to become a good nurse and then improve your English ability especially. And then, yeah, this is your passion. Nurse is my passion. Nurse is my passion. And then make sure in yourself, this is a good profession for you. Okay, I think that's all, Miss Vivin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agus. I think all of the session have done. I think like to thank to Dr. Carmela have answered all of this question, and also to all the audience for active participation. Hopefully, the presentation will give benefit for us and giving support to the student as a leader in nursing fields in the future. Yes, hopefully all of the students satisfied the answering from Dr. Carmela. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next we will come back to Miss Ersa SMC. Please, Miss Ersa.
Okay, I say thank you very much for sharing with us, Miss Carmela Teresa de Leon, and also Miss Yun Martiningsi as the moderator. Well, that's wrap up our event today. So now the next agenda is praying led by Alfa Alrido Irawan. So Alfa, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. I will lead prayer in an Islamic way. For non-Muslim, please adjust. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad walhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Ya Allah, yang Tuhan kami, pada hari ini kami melaksanakan kegiatan kuliah tamu dengan tema Birthing New Nursing Leader Amidst Challanges. Berilah kami petunjuk, taufik dan hidayah-Mu sehingga kegiatan yang telah kami laksanakan ini dapat membawa barokah bagi kami. Ya Allah yang Maha Pengasih dan Penyayang, karuniakanlah kesadaran, ketabahan, serta keikhlasan dalam menjalankan tugas mulia ini. Ya Allah yang Maha Berkehendak, perlihatkanlah kebenaran di mata kami, bukakanlah jalan yang lurus menuju surga-Mu, berikanlah kemudahan dan kelancaran dalam setiap langkah kami. Ingatkanlah kami agar kami senantiasa meneladani perjuangan para pendahulu kami, para pahlawan kami, dan pemimpin kami yang telah memberikan dharma baktinya bagi kami di masa yang akan datang. Ya Allah yang Maha Pengampun, ampunilah dosa kami, dosa kedua orang tua kami, serta dosa pemimpin-pemimpin kami. Berikanlah petunjuk dan kesadaran agar senantiasa melangkah di jalan yang Engkau ridhoi. Bimbinglah kami kepada jalan yang benar, serta jauhkanlah kami dari segenap petaka, khilaf, dan derita. Rabbana dolamna anfusana, wa ilam taghfir lana wa tarhamna, lanakunanna minal khosirin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah, wa fil akhirati hasanah, wa qina adzabannar. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin. That's all from us. If there are any words that's not pleasing, we apologize profusely. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Alfa Alrido Irawan. Okay, the next, maybe from the head of Blitar Nursing Diploma of Study Program will give a thanking or something for Miss Carmela. So, Bu Mugi, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ersa. The Honorable Dr. Carmela, a lecture I see in
Bu Mugi,
okay.
Terlalu kecil suaranya.
Oh, terlalu kecil, oke. Okay. Ya. Yeah.
Loudly, please.
Ya. Yeah. The Honorable Dr. Carmela, lecture I see in Zoom. Ada Dr. Susimil, Dr. Wildan, Dr. Erlina, Ms. Ika Yudi, and all participants. Ma'am Carmela, thank you for your time to be the speaker of guest lecture in nursing program Diplom 3 Blitar and give plenty new knowledge for my student. We are very glad to have you here as the speaker of guest lecture. I hope you don't mind if they invite you again to being the speaker in the future. Yeah. I hope my student can be as great as you and they can be motivated in increase knowledge about being professional nurse because it is very important for the future. One more, thank you so much, Dr. Carmela. We welcome you to come to Blitar someday, sometime, if the COVID is over. Yeah. And thank you all participants, all students, lecturer. See you next time. And goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, I say thank you for Bu Mugi. Yeah. Okay, again, the announcement for the audience. The evaluation form is available in room chat Zoom and YouTube channel. So for the participants, please fill the form. Ladies and gentlemen, before we finish our activity, there will be a documentation session by the documentation team. So please for all the participants to turn on the camera. So the documentation team, time is yours. Dokumentasi. Okay,
Okay.
for the documentation team. Okay, maybe I will.
Okay, Ersa, giving direction, Ersa. Unmute. Ersa di unmute dulu, Ersa. Ya.
Wait, Mr. Agus.
Okay. For the slide 1, I'll count down in 3, 2, 1. Slide 2, 3, 2, 1. Slide 3, 3, 2, 1. Slide 4. Wait. 3, 2, 1. Slide 5. 3, 2, wait. 3, 2, 1. Slide 6. 3, 2, 1. And the last slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. For the announcement, this program has a benefit to get a certificate. So for the audience who wants to get a certificate must complete the attendance and evaluation form. Thank you. And then finally, we've through all the event today. So I, as the host, personally, I would like to say I'm so sorry if there are mistakes or inconveniences in my utterances during handling all program or sessions in this program. And also, I say thank you very much for participation in this program. So now let's recite Hamdalah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Ladies and gentlemen, now all the program has been ended. So I, as the MC today, I do apologize for any mistakes. See you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mungkin Bu Mugi pengen bicara dengan Dr. Carmela. Pak Agus.
Okay, thanks, Ma'am.
Suaranya
Dr.
kecil.
Carmela.
Please, loudly, please.
Okay.
Mr. Agus.
It's clear.
No, clear for me. Oh, yes.
You don't use your headset.
Yes, I forgot.
Okay, thank you very much for Mrs. Carmela. And then I believe this meeting is very important for us. Okay. And thank you very much for all the committee here, especially the head of Blitar Nursing Study Program, Mrs. Rimukianti, and then as a moderator, Dr. Wiwin Martinense. Thank you very much for your participation. I never forget your participant, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carmela.
Bye,
Maybe, yes. See you next time.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Yes.
Oke, terima kasih. Terima kasih,
Terima
Pak
kasih.
Wildan dan teman-teman.
Ya, terima kasih Bapak Ibu semuanya.
Oke.
Dari prodi lain juga
Calling.
hadir, Bapak Ibu Aktivitas Akademika Prodi D3 Keperawatan Blitar. Terima kasih Bu Wiwin.
Ya, kembali.
Ya, terima kasih panitia semuanya.
Wah, aku radi sapa lho, Bu Ki.
Iya, Pak Agus pastilah, komandan peleton.
Kuwi oleh peserta cilik mburi sampean sapa wi?
Iya, iki pesertane. Nih.
Okay. Thank you very much for all participants and committee. Okay, permit I leave this room.
Ya.